All right. Okay, everyone. Welcome to another episode of the Oh Hell No podcast. Today I have Brittani Franczek. Welcome, Brittany.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, I'm so excited to talk to you. So, guys, this is going to be like a great episode. Brittany is an iridologist. Iridologist.
Yes, you got it.
Iridologist. Okay. And I have never heard of this before until my sister had an appointment with Brittany, and she called me and was so excited and was like, oh my gosh, I just got my report back and this is freaking amazing. And she shared all this information with me and I was blown away. So tonight we're going to talk to Brittany and she's going to share her journey with us and educate us on what she does. So the first thing I want to start with, Brittany, is what did you dream of becoming when you were a kid?
When I was a kid, I used to tell my parents that I was going to become a doctor. And then, yeah, it's kind of crazy because I do work in the health area now. But when I was younger, I definitely wanted to be a doctor all throughout elementary school and middle school. That was like priority for me. And then I got into high school and I was like 8 to 12 years of schooling after high school. I don't know. Sounds a little like, I don't know, a lot. So I decided to not go into that. And then I got pregnant very early on, probably like 21. So any dream of like going to college or anything like that was like, it was a lot of work.
Yeah.
Yeah. During my pregnancy, I got into a lot of natural health. So that was where I started with that. Everything from like doctor stuff went into more of like a holistic natural health.
Yes. So that's a good segue because I was going to ask you, when did you become health conscious? Like, I feel like some people are just like born like that where they just start early, and then some people it evolves because something happens or they just discover it. So what was your journey like into the health consciousness world?
So I was very unhealthy until I got pregnant with my son. And then I was like, okay, and now it's my responsibility to kind of figure out how to be healthy and how to raise healthy kids because I don't want my kid to have any issues. So I started looking into a lot of stuff while I was pregnant with him. And then after I was pregnant with him, I got an IUD placed, which was Paragard, just a type of birth control. And it made my body freak out like so bad, heavy cycles, all kinds of crazy stuff. And after I got it removed, I started having bladder pain and a lot of issues. So I was diagnosed with interstitial cystitis at 22 years old, which is basically just a fancy way of saying chronic bladder inflammation. And it was like having a UTI all the time. There was nothing that was taking it away. I was on multiple rounds of antibiotics trying to get rid of some bacteria that was not there. So it was crazy. But after I threw the ringer with that, I was like, okay, no more medical field. They're just putting me on pills and nothing is working with that. Let me go ahead and try to figure out what I need to do for myself.
That is crazy because UTIs, guys, if you have never had a UTI, that is like the worst pain ever. I don't know which is worse, a yeast infection or UTI. It's like
both terrible.
Right, it's the worst. So I can't imagine like going through life having that like every month or every week or just,
every day.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Woo. All right. Well, how did you discover iridology?
Okay, so in my research through the natural health stuff, I got a lot into Facebook groups and I was like, all right, people are healing themselves. I'm going to look for people that are healing cancer because if people can heal their cancer, I can heal whatever I have going on in my body. So I'm going to approach it like I have cancer because that is just like the ultimate degenerated, like everything can be healed after that. So I went into these cancer groups and I found Dr. Morris, Dr. Robert Morris. He has a YouTube channel and he has so many videos. He is a naturopathic doctor and he's been a naturopath for 50 years. And I started watching his videos and just diving into everything I could find on him. I bought his book. I just started looking into everything like healing, regeneration, all of that kind of stuff. And I found iridology through him. He also teaches iridology. So I took his level 1 class, which is detoxification specialist. And that like rocked my world, completely taught me how to eat, taught me how humans are supposed to be living so that we can regenerate ourselves and not get things like cancer and chronic illness. And then the iridology side of it was him teaching how to look for signs in the eyes of degeneration and things that you have going on that could potentially help you, that blood tests and that kind of stuff can't pick up.
Wow.
Huge.
So like you said, you were blown away when you got all this information, because I'm always like, whenever someone shares stuff like that with me, I'm like so fascinated, like, because, you know, we hear all these things, but the thing about it that made it so like legit, when my sister was going through that report, like she could identify everything that you said in that report. She would like point it out, like, oh my God, remember when I told you this? This is why. Remember when I told you that? Like, so there was no like even disputing it or saying, oh, I don't think that's real. I don't think it's right. Like legit, point on, you know? So you get into this course, you start doing this thing. How did you know that this was something that you could actually practice? And is there some type of certification that you have to get aside from doing the class? Like what were your next steps?
So my next step was I took a very cheap course on the internet, like a $35 course. And I was like, okay, let me just get certified in iridology so then I can start practicing and working on other people, because my favorite thing to do is learning through like hands-on stuff. Like I can learn everything in the books and do all these certifications and all that kind of stuff, but it doesn't mean as much to me as actual experience. So I got this certification and I started charging like 25 bucks for random people on the internet. I was like, don't tell me anything about your medical history. I don't want to know anything about you at all. Just let me see your eyes and then I'm going to tell you what I see. And then you tell me if any of this resonates with you. So every single time I would do that, it would come back and people were like, wow, I can't believe that you can see all this in my eyes. Like, how do you even know any of that? So it was really cool. I did all of that. And then I took Dr. Morris's class because his class is a lot more expensive. It's like $1,400, I think. So I saved up all of my money from doing all of these like little iridology readings that I was doing up over the internet. And I collected all of this money finally so that I could take his course. And it was funny because as soon as I took his course, I was like, I already know all of this stuff. Like, wow, this is a breeze. So I passed his course. I took the entire course in 3 days and I passed it like completely flying colors and everything. I was like, cool, this is great.
Oh my God. So
Yeah.
for everyone who is still a little clueless, give them the definition of what iridology is.
Cool. So in the irises, there are little fibers, and these are all the soft tissues inside your body. It reflects. So just like we see outward when we look out our eyes, when you look inside somebody's eyes, you're seeing the inside of their body. So it's like as without or as above, so below, all of that kind of stuff. It's the same kind of concept with that. So anything that you can see going on inside somebody's irises is also going on inside their body. As long as you have a chart, you can know which areas to look for. So for example, around the pupil is the digestive system. If you have any type of anything going on just outside the pupil, that's likely something going on inside your digestive system.
Yeah, it's life-changing, guys, like seriously. So you do this now. What do you say to people who are skeptical about this practice?
just have somebody read your eyes. I I have such a hard time having conversation with people because I look at them in their eyes when I'm speaking to them and I can just see like everything that's going on. It's crazy, but just hook up with somebody that knows how to read eyes and then just have them look into your eyes and see if they can see anything going on. It's pretty crazy. I was skeptical at first, and then I started looking into reading other people's. There's lots of like YouTube videos you can watch. And I was like, wow, that makes a lot of sense. But it also is stuff that I deal with. I would find eyes that look similar to mine, and I'm like, oh, so that's what that is. But yeah, it's very legit and it's crazy, but it's
You
on point.
just gotta experience it, like, it's crazy.
Yeah.
So guys, I'm gonna be making my appointment soon, right? I already sent my email to Brittany and said, listen, girl, in a couple of months, we're gonna hook up and you're gonna read my eyes. I feel like I'm pretty healthy, but I want to see what she tells me. I do have some little ailments and we'll see. So I'll definitely give you guys update after that.
I love that. Um, Iridology is really cool too because a lot of people have issues going on and they'll go to the doctor and have a blood test done. The doctor's like, "Oh, everything's normal. You're fine."
Mhm.
And they kind of almost like gaslight people like that because people are like, no, this is going on inside my body. Like, I can feel it. Can you please help me? And they're like, well, we can't like prove that. So what do you want us to do? But in iridology, you can prove so much. You can see exactly every single organ inside the body and what it's doing, what degree of degeneration it's at, if it's doing okay, if it's not doing okay. And it just validates people so much. I love being able to give people um, the answers that they're looking for that nobody else is giving them.
Yeah, I mean, it has to be a good feeling for you when people come back and say, oh my God, what you said was right. I did this and now I feel better, because I think a lot of times you do feel things. And when you go to the doctors, they check and everything is fine. Like I was having joint pain one time where I couldn't move my arm. It was just like a lot of pain. I got an x-ray, I got this done, I got that done. And they're like, well, you don't have this, you don't have that. I don't know what it is. So I
Mhm.
ended up doing the needle thing, acupuncture.
Ac-
Yeah, and
oh,
that relieved, the problem. I don't know what it was or what caused it, but you look crazy when you go to the doctors and you're like, this is happening to me. And they're like, okay. So
right.
I totally agree. So how many years have you been doing this and what do you enjoy the most about it?
So I've been doing this for almost 6 years now, which is crazy to me. It's like the better part of a decade. It doesn't even feel that long. But my favorite part is being able to give people information that they can't get elsewhere and genuinely helping people because I've been run through the medical system and I know so many people that have and they have nowhere else to go. They're like desperate for help, desperate for answers, and I can provide that for them. So that's like being more on point and more powerful and more impacting than a doctor. And I'm like, okay, I'm getting a little up there, but that's my absolute favorite part. And I'm out here to help people. I'm not out here to like pat myself on the back because I can look at people's eyes and give them whatever. It's to genuinely help people on their journey. I was lost for so long. And if I can help one person by giving them like a key to one of their doors, that's what I'm here for.
Absolutely. So, as an entrepreneur, you're doing this, you have your own business and you're doing this. What are some struggles that you face?
I think being a mom of three is the biggest struggle for me, only because I have to really manage my time. I have like mornings to work and evenings to work, and a little bit of time in between when my kids are napping. But my priority is always raising and homeschooling my children. So finding the time to do my passion and what I feel like my purpose is, that's the biggest struggle, just time management. I feel like there's not enough time in the day.
Yeah, absolutely. I know. So, how do you like, is there any continuing education for this practice and what does that look like?
There are a few courses. I know that there's a college called Trinity, and they offer a master iridologist course, which I will be taking soon. They also offer a master herbalist course, which I feel like goes hand in hand. Once you can see everything inside the eyes, you also need to be able to help people heal it. You can't just like give them your analysis and be like, all right, figure it out. Being able to provide the answers is key. Dr. Morris also has a level 2 class that I'm thinking about taking. But for me, I feel like certifications are, I guess, lower on my priority, whereas I'm trying to work with as many people as I possibly can to gain that experience through working hands-on with people.
So now in your practice, when you read someone's eyes and you come back with all this information, what do you do in terms of protecting yourself, right? Because you're giving this advice and then you're suggesting, okay, these are some things that can help you get rid of this issue, but you know how people are, girl,
Absolutely.
How do you protect yourself?
So at the beginning of my reading, before I ever go into any details about anything, I have a disclaimer that says this is for informational purposes only. Do not use this to override any information that you're getting from your doctor or advice that you're getting from a medical profession. This is only for your information. So if you would like to take the advice, great. And if you don't want to, use your own discernment, pretty much. Take what resonates with you. And if it doesn't at all resonate with you, then don't try it. But everything that I'm suggesting is food-based medicine. So it's very safe. Everything that I'm suggesting is safe enough for you to use on a toddler or a baby. And all the herbs are earth-based, plant-based things, and you can take them all together. There's no contradictions or anything. Everything that I'm doing in this reading, I would do for my own children and do for myself. I do for myself. So
Good. Okay. Do you feel like your health has been great since you've been on this journey? Have you had any health issues that you couldn't resolve with your methods?
not a single one. I used to have a lot of candida issues that was cured completely with the way that I eat now. My bladder inflammation is basically non-existent as long as I stay on the path. If I go off the path for like a few days, I'll start feeling a little more sensitivity, but it's not nearly as bad as it was. It was like every single day UTI pain for 2 or 3 years until I was like, okay, finally I will change my diet. Like it was just coming to me. God was speaking to me. He's like, lady,
Yeah,
can you please change your diet? I'm like, okay, fine, I will.
I know.
But yeah, since then it's been on point and I haven't had any health issues that I haven't been able to heal myself. Regrowing my hair. Um, yeah,
It's about
everything has been on point. Yeah, my digestive system has gotten so much better too. I can't believe, like, I didn't know I was having digestive issues until now. I'm like, wow, that was crazy. Like, I can go every day and not have a problem. A lot of people don't even go every day. It's like a week or like every other day type of stuff. I'm like, wow.
right. Yeah.
As soon as I open my eyes in the morning, I'm pooping. I'm like, yeah, it's a great sign.
I know, it's like you have a schedule and that's like optimal, like my husband's like that. I still struggle with that, but I won't, gross you guys out with my bubble gut. So do you still do your routine visits though, like your mammograms and your pelvic exams and all that stuff?
I don't. I have not been to the doctor because I don't have any issues. So I don't feel like I need to. Maybe I would do a mammogram when I get older. I am about to turn 30. So I may go through with some kind of testing as I age and then see what happens. But I get blood tests regularly because I have to for my insurance. And
Mhm.
my blood tests are on point. It's insane to me. Like as soon as I changed my diet, I went from a 99 in my blood tests to 100. And I've consistently stayed at 100 throughout the last 5 years, which it's
Oh,
nice. It's reassuring. They do a scale of like 100, whatever, how many points you get out of 100 for health. And mine has been on point. And I don't eat any meat. I don't eat any dairy. I don't eat any fish. I don't eat eggs. None of that type of stuff. It's like completely plant-based. So it definitely is a healthy diet and you can get everything you need from plants.
Yeah, for sure. I've heard that, but I'm still struggling with that, girl. I don't know about that.
Of course. I did not want to give up my eggs or my meat, any of that. I'm like, I love this. But my body was like, we don't love this.
Oh, some people's bodies are just so sensitive and you really
Mhm,
need to change it up.
absolutely.
Whew. All right. So what do you think is the biggest misconception about what you do?
I think a lot of people think that it's pretty woo-woo, like it's like almost a psychic reading, where I see it as very scientific. Like there are certain areas, and as long as there's something going on in that area, it means that something is going on with that organ that correlates to that area. So normally, if I see something going on and I point it out to somebody, they're like, "Oh yeah, it's definitely like it's confirmed. It's scientifically confirmed for me." So it's not just like I'm reading your energy and it's telling me that your parathyroid is off. No, it's like I can see your parathyroid and it looks a little so
Right. And I'm glad you said that because, guys, it is scientific. This is not like some Houdini stuff or anything like that. It's all science,
yeah.
you know? So just keep that in mind. It's funny that you say that because I had a woman on the show who is an energy healer
Cool.
and she's
I
amazing.
believe in this stuff, so I definitely do, but that's not my line.
Right. So that's totally different from what Brittany does, but that is a little, I don't want to say ooh, but it's a special gift that,
Absolutely.
like only certain people can do that. So those two things are different, just in case you guys are wondering. Yes, energy healing is different from iridology, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
absolutely.
So why do you think this is not a practice that we hear about, like more often? Because I personally have never heard of it. Not to say that because I didn't hear of it, that it's not something that is talked about, but
Yeah.
like nowhere, like I've never heard anyone ever bring it up. It's always someone who is on that journey where they are living this healthy life that knows about stuff like this. So why do you think they hide this from us?
There's actually been a few lawsuits over the last 100, 200 years, and people have always been trying to disprove iridology.
Mm.
Um, so I really think it's hidden because a lot of people don't believe that that's actually a valid science. But if you look back in history and go back to like Mesopotamia, Egypt, Greek, all of these civilizations used the eyes for diagnosis. And that was just a common thing that they used to do.
Yeah.
So when somebody tried to like make it a science and make it a thing, um, I think the legal side of it had a lot of problems. Like, how are you about to diagnose these people just by looking at their eyes, not looking at their blood, not looking at their bodies or anything like that? But it was very popular in Europe and it came over here within the last 100 years. Dr. Bernard Jensen, who is Dr. Morris's main teacher, was somebody that really went through a lot of diagnosis and studies and testing throughout his life with iridology and being able to teach that to other people. But it's really not something that a lot of people know about or want to learn about, and they don't see a lot of validity in it. But if you've seen as many eyes as I have and done as many readings as I have and heard the feedback, you would see that there's definitely validity to it. So,
Absolutely. And they say the eyes are the window to the soul. Like,
yeah,
so you see
they are.
through your eyes. Even, oh my gosh, I had this other lady on the podcast. Brittany, if you are not listening to my podcast, girl, you better tune in, okay?
I just followed you today. I'm about to go through all of them.
Thank you. So I interviewed this lady, and she is a nurse, and her husband, he passed away a long time ago, but she said she remembers the morning that they sat down at the table and she looked in his eyes and they were yellow. And she was like, oh my God, I know what this is. Right. And he went to the doctors and he had pancreatic cancer.
Yeah.
And she knew that from looking in his eyes. Like
Mhm.
that's where it showed up for her. Right. So guys, there's something to this, right? And if doctors were smart, I feel like they should get this training as well as their regular training, and they would be like unstoppable, right?
Absolutely. That's
So,
definitely my goal, is to get more holistic practices into the hospital system. But it's kind of taboo almost to put holistic stuff inside the American medical system. So
I know. Here's another thing too. The energy healer that I interviewed, she also works with doctors
cool.
because, there are some doctors who realize
Hmm.
certain people's gifts, and they use her when they can't figure something out. They send their patients to her, and then she gets that missing piece to help resolve the issue, right?
That's incredible. It's
Yeah.
definitely becoming more open now. I noticed that a lot with just my personal like friends that are doctors and nurses. They're like, oh, okay, so there is some stuff that we can go back to and see that like the plant and the earth, everything is offered to us already. We don't need to like make these synthetic things. But
Yeah, like even when I
I
was
hope.
watching Game of Thrones and they kept saying milk of the poppy, I thought it was puppy, but for a long time, and then I realized it was poppy, like poppy seeds.
Yeah,
So like, come on,
that's
guys,
it.
you know,
Hmm.
little things like that. All right,
Absolutely.
I can go on and on about this.
Love it.
So if someone was interested in doing this, what advice would you give to them in terms of getting, certification or, taking classes? And also, very important, what skill would you say is a must have to be able to do this successfully?
So I really think the knowledge of the body is very important. Like you can see everything in the body, you can see all of these organs and stuff, but if you don't know how the organs work and what organs they team up with to do different things, there's not really much that you can offer anybody. You can just say like, oh, your parathyroid's not working, but it's like, why? Like, and what can you do about that, and what are the causes? So I really think like having an overall background knowledge of anatomy and just how the organs function is super important. There are also different types of iridology. So there's like behavioral iridology, emotional iridology, and then there's also iridology that people do it like I do, but they go a different route with like nutrition and herbal medicine, all of that kind of stuff. So I think you should really look into what resonates with you. Personally, for me, it's lymphatic iridology, and Dr. Morris is the one that coined that term. So if that's something that you want to look into, I would only go to him. But there are so many other places that teach iridology. Trinity is a great school, and they also teach iridology. So there's a lot of different places you can go. Research which one resonates with you and go that route.
Yeah. Is there anything that you would tell them to beware of, like any scams? You know how, girl, everybody is selling a booklet for 99 cents on the internet. So
Mhm.
is there anything that you would want to say, stay clear of these sorts of things? And
Yeah. For me, I like the more scientific one. Behavioral iridology doesn't resonate too much with me, even though I know there is validity to it. That looks into more of like your emotional side of like how you are, just based on certain patterns in your eyes and stuff like that. I feel like that's not as scientific as lymphatic iridology is, but there could be a lot of validity to it too.
right. So you just have to use your discernment and kind of like,
Yeah.
yeah. Okay. So you already said this, but I always have to ask, do you feel like this is purpose work for you?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I feel like just having my chronic illness in general, and then being the type of person that I am, that I want to extend myself and help other people in any way that I can, it makes sense for it to be like I was gifted chronic illness so that I could heal it on my own, and then in turn help other people heal things in the same way that I did.
I love that. I love the way you
Gotten sick.
turn that lemons into lemonade. That's
Yeah.
awesome. So on my podcast, I always ask my guests to share an oh hell no moment that has taught them something or has changed their perspective on something. Oh hell no moments are moments of shock or disbelief, where in the moment you're like, oh hell no, like really? Could be good, it could be bad, but it's a moment that changes things for you. So think about a moment that you had that you were like, oh hell no, but it changed something for you, and share that with us.
I think it would have been when I was trying to get my IUD out because I was telling them and I was having such a hard time with it inside my body, and I requested to have it removed and I got denied multiple times. I was like, this thing is causing problems inside my body. And they're like, you have to leave it in for a little bit longer. And I already had it in for a year. They were telling me throughout that entire year that no, you have to keep it in for a whole year. No, your body is going to be fine, all of that kind of stuff. And after I did the research on it, I realized that these IUDs, these foreign objects they're placing into people's bodies, are getting stuck in there. People need surgery to like remove them sometimes. And I'm like, really? Like, you don't want to remove this for me? So after they denied me a lot of times, I pulled it out myself. I was like, hell no, I am not going back to this place where they keep denying what I'm telling them and just basically telling me that what I'm saying is completely wrong. I'm having like half of the month I'm bleeding. It's an insane pain. I have no idea what's going on with my body, and I know this is the cause of it. Right after I took it out, I went totally back to normal. And then a month after that, I started having so much pain because my body was, I was getting an overdose of copper basically from the copper IUD.
Oh my
And
God.
then from having just like foreign objects in my body, there was so much inflammation in my like lower pelvic area. And I believe that that is a huge cause for the interstitial cystitis.
Right. Oh my gosh. That's a definite oh hell no moment. I'm glad you resolved that. And the fact that they wouldn't take it out, like it's your body, you're the patient.
Yeah,
Me, like, no. I
medical freedom.
I have an IUD too. Thank God, knock on wood, I haven't had any trouble with it. But my doctor is so like respectful. Like if I said take this out, he would definitely like remove it. I just can't believe that.
Yeah, it's important to be seen by somebody that can like understand you and respect what you want done with your body.
Yes.
Yeah, my OB was not very kind, and that's why I never went back. And after my pregnancies, I started doing unassisted free births. So I just did it on my own, researching everything, and I'm like, never going back to this stuff.
Brittany is no joke. You're like a damn midwife, a iridologist, an herbalist. Girl,
Very self-sufficient.
you are. So tell everyone where they can catch up with you, where they can make an appointment, and just connect.
Instagram is the best place to reach me at hippybrit, HIPPYBRITT. I'm really good about answering my messages. I rarely ever let any go by. But if you're not there, you can email me at bfranczek, FRANCZEK @gmail.com, and we can set up an appointment. I would love to work with anybody that's struggling and not getting the help that they need in other places. Yeah, if it resonates with you, reach out.
Great. Thank you so much, Brittany, for coming on. I really enjoyed this segment, and I appreciate all the work that you're doing, and I can't wait to get my reading.
Of course. Thank you so much. Can't wait to read for you.
Okay.